All right, welcome to this next step of getting your scheduler set up. We're going to go ahead and walk you through the global calendar settings. There are going to be two parts for this: the calendar preferences that are global and then the calendar availability that is global. Let's go ahead and jump right into it for calendar preferences that are global. So preferences on a global level are going to allow you to be able to control two things. Number one, it's going to allow you to control where your meeting locations are going to be, as well as what those internal widget calendar settings are going to be. Okay, so I don't know what that means. Let's just go ahead and do it because this is the important part of making sure that this is set up properly. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the calendar tab, and then we're going to go ahead and click on calendar settings, or you can also go to settings over here and then click on calendars from there. Next up from there, we're going to go ahead and click on preferences, which is this button right over here. Now, right over here, you're going to see we have my preferences and account preferences. Okay, so right over here, this is going to be the meeting location and then the custom meeting location here, right? So let's say, for example, you are going to be setting where your appointments are going to be in general. Now, you can also control this on the individual scheduler and calendar level. So over here, you can see over here, we got custom, Google Meet, phone, and full address, right? So in this case, let's say hypothetically, you were going to go ahead and do this via Google Meet. You could go ahead and have that set up there. And then when you do Google Meet here, it's going to allow you here under my profile to go ahead and set up a Zoom integration over here if that's what you're doing. Or it is also then Google Meet is actually by default inside of all Google Calendar events. And so this is going to just automatically create, I think pretty much for free, a Google Meet invitation whenever that appointment is created, right? So again, this is not going to be something specifically if there is use cases that, you know, the community needs, or if somebody finds a very useful way on how they're running their business, we can go ahead and share that here. But for the most part, you don't have to overstress. This is going to be pretty much, you can do a custom. And then if you really want, you can even maybe even leave it blank. Let's see if I could do that. Yeah, it looks like you can do that as well, right? So again, you can, and then also do phone or full address, whatever that is, okay? Then over there, next up we have is account preferences. So week starts on, you can go ahead and change that if you'd like. For us, it's always gonna be Sunday. English, time format, we're gonna go ahead and do it as not 24-hour time, we're gonna do 12-hour time with AM and PM, and then the view options on there, save preferences. So again, these are gonna be pretty standard, but you just wanna kind of know where they are. So that is gonna be your global preferences, okay? So preferences, my preferences, and account preferences. Next up, we're going to have calendar availability, and that's going to be the next immediate section right there, the tab that is clicked right there. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And then you'll see that we have my availability and account availability. Now, the ClientKit team right now is working on getting account availability out. It's not that big of a deal because we've always run it just through my availability. Now, over here, what we're going to do, and this is, we're going to have a whole entire section on this when we talk about managing availability in a little bit. But what I want to talk to you about here is that this over here is your availability that you want to kind of set based off of your Google Calendar and based off of the available times that you have in general, right? So in this example over here, this is starting from 6:30 a.m. all the way to 6:30 p.m., right? So what's going to happen is that you don't have to worry. It's not going to be like you're going to get appointments booked throughout that, but you want to make sure that whatever time you're starting your workday, that is what time this morning block is set for, right? So you kind of make it sure here in Google Calendar, I can make sure that this is for all events. I can make it from 7, let's say hypothetically to 7 to 7. Is, let's say, what I wanted to do this, or let's say 7 to 6 maybe. Yeah, let's do 7 to 6. And I'm going to go ahead and change this over here and 11:55 p.m., right? So 11:55 p.m. save to all events. Okay, cool. So whatever might be here. So let's say we're going to do some 7 to 6 p.m. So, and on Sundays, I'm not going to work. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set this from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. here. And then I'm going to go ahead and click copy to all. And it's going to allow me to go ahead and have that wide open. And then let's say on Saturdays, though, I'm going to have an exception where Saturdays is going to be from, let's just say 9 a.m. to, let's just say 3 p.m., okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and save availability. Now, we're going to have an entire separate training on this, like I said, for managing availability and the best practices for managing availability. But for right now, what you want to know is that it is best to go ahead and leave this as wide open as possible. Like even if honestly, you wanted to go ahead and leave the Saturday open, you could go ahead and do that if you really wanted to. So that way on the ClientKit side, it's wide open, but then you can always go ahead and control it over here, right? So let's say, for example, on Saturday, I did not want anybody to be able to book. So I could just go ahead and block this off and say, cool, I'm going to do from, let's say 9. So this is going to be Saturday morning block off, right? So I could put it over here. And then over here, it would be up until, let's say 3, right? So it'd be Saturday afternoon block off or something, right? So you could go ahead and control it over here. Again, don't worry about that right now. I'm kind of just planting the seed, and then we'll get into that in a little bit. Okay, so we got a global availability. In the guide, we walk you through this as well. But again, you just want to understand where the availability is for you to be able to control it on the global level. And that's it. That's literally this step when it comes to actually setting your calendar preferences globally and then your calendar availability globally. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. Global calendar settings is now done. Make sure you go ahead and hit save. But again, we're not done yet. We got to go ahead and now walk you through step by step to creating your actual booking calendar. We will catch you in the next step.